Midweek edition of the show, Sports in a Jiffy, on your most exciting breakfast show, the Morning Impact Show, here on Empire Radio 102.1 FM. Top of the morning, sports fans, top of the morning, listeners, and welcome to Sports in a Jiffy on your most exciting breakfast show. This is your number one urban lifestyle station, and in case you're tuning in the very first time, I serve this package Mondays to Fridays from 10 a.m. down to the flip side of 10. I call it your early morning sports tonic, that place where we get to go through all of the major stories making the rounds in the ever exciting, ever dynamic, and sometimes controversial world of sport. Bits and pieces of all of the stories on the show this morning, and I'll be serving it to you fast with a lot of facts, making it compact for your listening pleasure. Of course, it's international break across the globe right about now in the world of football, because the major footballing nations are definitely on international duties right about now. And yesterday, the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria was also said to be bubbling, with 15 players said to be in training. Also, our opponents for the game on Friday, the Amavubis of Rwanda, also touched down in the country yesterday, all in preparation for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. They are round of 7 of the matches in Group C, where definitely involves Nigeria and Rwanda, and the next game is definitely going to be against South Africa. So a lot of stories coming through from that scene, and I'll be telling you more about it on the show this morning. And don't forget, I will also be back here later this evening between 6 p.m. down to 7 p.m. on the Sports Up Show, that place where I get to do 1 hour of banter, 1 hour of rage, 1 hour of views, reviews, and all of the interviews. Still on the breakfast menu this one. I also got stories coming through from other sports on the show. Talk about the world of tennis, and right about now, one man seems to be creating a storyline for himself in the world of tennis. That's talking about Carlos Alcaraz becoming an enigma. Don't forget that at the start of the US Open, he was the most talked about athlete playing at the US Open because of the hairstyle he went in with. But yes, I'm proud to tell you, and I'm glad to inform you that he's now made it into the semifinals, also creating a record whilst doing that. Back to the world of football on the show this morning, it's also been confirmed that Kelechi Iheanacho, the 28-year-old, has now been given a lifeline by Celtic, reuniting with his former boss, Brendan Rodgers, right there. Celtic not playing in Champions League, but of course, they've still got an European competition to play for this season. All of this and many more I'll be serving to you in the course of the show this morning. Ayode Jajibu is my name. Absolute honor to be your host on the show. Here's a short reminder that I can keep track of these updates and more by following us across all social media platforms. We are currently live on our YouTube channel at impact 102.1 FM. You can also join us on our Facebook fan page at impact radio 102.1 FM. And to the switch of the back of the net right about now, we get the show on the road. And like I mentioned, we're starting with us coming through from the world of other sports on the show this morning, because I tell you one thing, I tell you for free, that charity begins from home. And that's why we're starting with the world of cricket this morning, where the head coach of Nigerian senior female cricket team, Leke Oyede, is saying that he's optimistic that the female Yellow Greens will bounce back in their last group game of the 2026 ICC Women's T20 World Cup Africa qualifiers, the Division 1 against Zimbabwe, where they face the test playing nation in Namibia later today. The female Yellow Greens need to avoid defeat against Zimbabwe in order to keep their dream of reaching the 2026 Women's T20 World Cup in England alive. Nigeria began the series with 96 drawn win over Sierra Leone on Sunday, but fell to an 8-wicket defeat against host Namibia on Monday, putting them in a daring situation against Zimbabwe. Ahead of the tie later today, Oyede said his team are ready to take their chance against the Lady Chevrons. And away from that story right now, still on other sports on the show this morning. Quickly, let's take stories coming through from the ongoing National Youth Games that is currently on the way right there in Asaba, Delta State, as the 9th National Youth Games competition holding in Asaba enters the 6th day. 29 states have registered their presence on the medals table, winning a total of 346 medals. Team Lagos comfortably leading the medals table with 30 gold, 12 silver, and 11 bronze medals. Edo State is trailing behind with 22 gold, 8 silver, and 14 bronze medals, while defending champions and host states Delta occupies the 3rd position with 10 gold, 17 silver, and 19 bronze medals. A few sport events are yet to commence, such as the kickboxing and the wrestling, while several others such as swimming, weightlifting, shooting, table tennis, para table tennis, karate, gymnastics, para-powerlifting, Scrabble, and chess have been concluded, with attention now shifting to athletics. Athletes are in high spirit. Fans and thousands of visitors enjoying the hospitality and the tranquility right there at the Games Village. And away from that, still talking about the National Youth Games right now. And according to the National Sports Commission, looks like it's going to be a battle to finish between Lagos State and also Delta State. Looking forward to who is going to be hosting the games in the year 2026. This one is the story coming through from the National Sports Commission. Let me quickly give you more bit into that particular story as I have it with me on the show this morning. The National Youth Games, don't forget that the 7th edition is the one that is going to be happening in the year 2026. And right about now, the Sports Commission are saying that they are looking to see who is definitely going to be hosting it. Loggerheads, or should I say collision, is what we are monitoring between Delta State and Lagos State because of the hosting rights and the declaration by the Director General of the Lagos State Sports Commission, Olalekan Fatudu, that the state has been granted the hosting rights for the 10th National Youth Games in 2026 has sparked a reaction from Delta State during the opening ceremony of the ongoing 9th NY National Youth Games in Asaba. Director General of the National Sports Commission, Bukola Olopade, dismissed reports suggesting that Lagos State has been confirmed as the host of the 2026 Games, insisting that no decision has been made and that due process will determine the next host of the competition. But then the declaration of Fatudu is not going down well with Delta State, which in 2023 signed a memorandum of understanding with the federal government to host 4 editions of the National Youth Games, including the 2026 edition. So you can tell that before any other state can be looking to host the National Youth Games, should be until the year 2027. All right. All hands in glove. I wait to see what the people at the ends of affairs will be looking to do with this particular story coming through and talking about hosting the National Youth Games. Away from that right now, straight into the world of football on the show this morning. I will start with us coming through from the Nigerian Premier Football League, where the Nigerian Professional Premier Football League NPFL honored 2 standard performers from the 2024-2025 season yesterday, presenting them with cash awards of 2 million naira each for their exceptional contributions. National United striker Anas Yusuf, who netted 18 goals to emerge as the league's highest goal scorer, received the award alongside Daniel Ogumodede, the head coach of the Remo Stars, who guided his team to an historic first ever NPFL title. The Ikenebe side sealed the championship with 71 points, becoming the first privately owned club from the Southwest since 2000 to lift the league trophy. Speaking at the ceremony, Nigerian Football Federation's president Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau, represented by the Secretary General Dr. Muhammad Sanusi, commended the NPFL board for its steady progress right there, and also the NPFL chairman Otuma Gbenga Elegbeleye reaffirmed the league's commitment to raising standard despite all of the challenges. Don't forget that this is Sports in a Jiffy on Empire Radio 102.1 FM, and I'm right here just 72 in bits and in pieces, tiptoeing through all of the major stories making the rounds in the world of sport. We'll be back later this evening between 6 p.m. down to 7 p.m. where we dive into the nitty-gritty of all of these major stories I'm serving to you on the show this morning. And still on the home front, Nigeria has now said to have formally submitted its bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games, positioning the capital city Abuja as the proposed venue, and if successful, it will mark the first time an African country stages the multi-sport event. The 2030 edition, which coincides with the centenary of the Commonwealth Games, which began as the British Empire Games in Hamilton, Canada in 1930. Abuja's candidacy will be considered alongside India's proposal to stage the games in Ahmedabad, right there in Gujarat. And away from that story as well, still taking stories coming through from the world of sport on the show this morning. Serving it to you just the way you like it. In the world of football, like I mentioned to you, at the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria is definitely Bobby, with 15 Super Eagles players present for the first training session that was said to have been disrupted by rainfall right there in Uyo yesterday. 15 Super Eagles players trained at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo are starting to get ready for an important 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Rwanda. Training being led by the team's head coach Eric Sekechele. 8 more players are expected to arrive at the camp later today. Those players definitely include likes of Tolu Arokudare, Christos Uche, and also Samuel Chukwueze, who just finished finalizing their moves away to the English Premier League. Players including Stanley Nwabali, Ademola Lookman, whose future is still definitely in limbo, and we are monitoring the fact that possibly he's going to be making that move to the Turkish Super League as well. With likes of Fenerbahce and also Galatasaray looking around him right about now. Cyril Dessers, the man who also just made the move right there to Panathinaikos in the Greece League, is also expected to join the players later today. We play Rwanda in the match day 7 at the same stadium in Uyo on Saturday, and after that we'll be traveling to play against South Africa. Stories coming through, especially with the game against South Africa, is that FIFA is still silent on the sanctions of Bafana, and this is definitely spurring agitations in Group C. The head coach of the South Africa Bafana side, Ugo Bruce, has also been making a couple of remarks on the media in the last couple of days, but as it is right now, all length in glove and a lot of football enthusiasts in the country are definitely waiting to see what the sanction is going to look like. Don't forget that during the last game of the Bafana, where they admitted to erroneously field that their midfielder Tobena Mokoena in their 2-0 home win over Lesotho, and then South Africans are claiming that it is Nigeria who is pushing for it, and that Lesotho itself is very much silent on the situation. People are also saying that South Africa is having an undue advantage because the game they will be playing against Lesotho and also the game they will be playing against Nigeria is going to be at the same stadium, which means they'll be camping in the same place for the next 1 week or thereabout to play the 2 games right there. And away from that story right now, still taking more stories coming through from the world of sports on the show this morning. I would like to skedaddle straight to Europe, and I'll start with us coming through from the world of tennis. Just like I mentioned to you, the US Open currently into the semi-final stage, and yes, earlier today as well, someone is being described as lucky, and that is Novak Djokovic, who will now be facing Carlos Alcaraz after battling past Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinal yesterday. Let me bring you more of that particular story on the show right about now. Sports in a Jiffy on Empire Radio 102.1 FM. And Novak Djokovic is now setting up a blockbuster US Open semi-final with Carlos Alcaraz after delivering a gritty performance to beat American Taylor Fritz. 40 Taylor Fritz applied constant pressure to Djokovic's serve, but the Serbian fended off numerous break points and hostile crowd en route to a 6-3, 7-5, 3-6, 6-4 win. Djokovic, who after the game said he thought he was lucky at times, adding it was an incredibly close match. It was really anybody's match. Djokovic now must overcome second seed Alcaraz if he is to reach the final and continue his pursuit of a record 25th Grand Slam singles title. The Spaniard, who is currently 16 years, Djokovic Jr., earned the spot in the last 4 earlier yesterday as well, when he raced to a 6-4, 6-2, 6-4 victory over Czech Republican Jiří Lehecka. The remaining men's singles quarterfinals will be taking place in New York later tonight. 8th Alex de Minaur will be facing Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime before world number 1 Yannick Sinner will be taking on fellow Italian Lorenzo Musetti in the game right there. While in the WTA on the show this morning, defending champion Aryna Sabalenka has moved into the US Open semi-finals without playing after Marketa Vondrousova withdrew with a knee injury, setting up a repeat of last year's final against Jessica Pegula. World number 1 Sabalenka was set to play on seeded Czech Republican Vondrousova in the Tuesday night session in New York, but the 2023 Wimbledon champion, whose career has been decimated by injuries, pulled out less than 2 hours before they were due to take to the court. Vondrousova had a pre-match practice session but stopped it early, hunching over at the baseline before being consoled by her team. As it is right now, the world number 60 was sister seen with heavy strapping on her left leg as she walked through the Flushing Meadows players area. American Forcy Pegula swept past Barbara Krejcikova 6-3, 6-3 to advance to the last 4 for the second year in a row. Right there, solid Pegula, definitely you can say, because this particular lady, she definitely arrived in New York in a poor form, if that's the right word to use, because she only won 2 matches in her previous 4 tournament, losing in the first week of the major 4 times in 6 appearances. But as it is right now, looks like she's brushing away all of the cobwebs that are on her face, because it's been like a routine finish for her in this particular tournament. She's won matches against the likes of Anna Blinkova. She's won against the likes of Victoria Azarenka. Now she's now going into this semi-final, which is definitely going to be against a top dog that's talking about Aryna Sabalenka. We look forward to see how that particular one is going to pan out in the next couple of days right there. Still sports in the Jiffy right here on Empire Radio 102.1 FM. Like I mentioned to you at the start of the show, completing the transfer bid for today is the fact that Cesar Toshala also made the move from the United States Women's League side. That's talking about Bay FC, moving to the Saudi Women's Premier League. As with Al Hilal signing the Super Falcon star on a 2-year deal. Oshala joined Al Hilal from the National Women's Soccer League side. Bay FC ending a stint in the USA club after 1.5 years. She was unveiling a series of posts via the club's social media handles yesterday after undergoing medicals on Monday right there in Riyadh. Still talking transfer bid. Like I mentioned, Turkish Super League giants Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are going against each other off the pitch for the signature of Nigerian forward Ademola Lookman. Though it's also been said that according to report with the list that was released by Atlanta, that's the UEFA Champions League players list, Ademola Lookman's name was said to have been added by the Black and Blues. So we are waiting whether or not Lookman will continue with the side right there in the Italian Serie A. The transfer window in Turkey is going to be closing on 12th of this month, so there's still a couple more days to see whether or not Ademola Lookman will be making that move away from Atlanta. Sporting a Jiffy right here on Empire Radio 102.1 FM. Ayode Jajboye, and I've been 72 in beat and in pieces, tiptoeing all of the major stories making the rounds in the world of sport this morning. We'll be back later this evening between 6 p.m. down to 7 p.m. on the Sports Up Show, where we'll be doing 1 hour banter, 1 hour of rage, 1 hour views, reviews, and all of the interviews. I'll see you when I see you later. Do what you have for yourself. A blessed and a highly favored midweek. Do not forget to be kind, because kindness is cool. Good morning.
From the greens of golf to the court of tennis and basketball, the octagon of UFC to the square root for boxing, track of Formula One.